everybody, this is Jonathan Mower at the Hometown Historian channel. We are about to enter the Charles Baber Cemetery. We're here in Pottsville, Pennsylvania in Schuylkill County. And this is the arches here, very much done in sort of like an Egyptian type architectural style. And if you remember from my Instagram, you'll remember this Gothic church here. It's very, very cool. We have stopped here to do the Instagram pictures, but I did not do a video here yet for this channel, but we are about to. So come with me. We're going to go around the church. We're going to go about the cemetery a little bit. We're going to show you some of the unique stones, just some of the really cool hometown history here in this really amazing cemetery that's very, very unique. A lot of really neat people that are buried here, and we're going to talk about that. So we will see you here in a second. Hey, so we are here in the Charles Baber Cemetery. This land was actually donated by Charles Baber. He was a resident here in Pottsville, well off, and wanted to have a burial place for the citizens of this area. So cool thing here I found, which I believe it makes sense with the years, John Pott. He would have been, I believe this is the gentleman who would have been the founder of Pottsville. So I didn't find this the last time, but John Pott yielded his spirit into the hands of him who gave it. October 23rd, 1827. And then his wife, who died in 1823. Oh, this was a really, really neat stone with the ivy climbing up. But this is the Gothic church here that they have on site. And one of the things, you get to see Chuck here again, this is the founder of the Yingling Brewery. You'll find a lot of the Yingling family that is buried here, but this is the gentleman who was the actual founder of the Yingling Brewery. But they have, all these people that were part of the Yingling family. There are a number of them that are down this direction as well. But yeah, very, very cool. I believe this is the founder of the Yingling family, but this is the Yingling family burial plot. But let's go over to the church. Another really cool thing you see, like, the Haywood family. It's a very unique cemetery in that they sort of allowed you to do what you wanted, like memorial wise, because normal cemeteries you wouldn't be allowed to have something like that. It's an older cemetery, of course. I don't think we're going to do a ton of walking on this one today. I just sort of wanted to come here. And here's where Charles Baber is actually buried. There are a couple other famous individuals, I believe, that are buried here as well. But he died 1885, 73 years old. Very, very cool. And you just look at, I just love these old Gothic, sort of Gothic revival architecture. It's just beautiful. But this is used actually for weddings, services of different sorts. But it's a very cool place to walk through. I just am not going to be doing a whole lot of that. I was feeling pretty good today, but I can just tell I have a little bit of discomfort and that type of thing, and I just want to be really, really careful with what I try to do. But I'll talk about a couple of the really neat stories and all that. That's cool. I think this is, it might be new, but yeah, it's very, you just look at it, it's just such a beautiful, beautiful church. We'll talk about a couple of the stories. There's actually a lady, when Cliff and I had come through here, she had told us about a story. Like, you have a lot of cemeteries, you'll have these haunting type stories. And she said there was a little boy, his last name Carpenter. It was down that direction that they said every now and then somebody will see what they assume is him, his ghost. I don't really know what I believe in that regard. I sort of think sometimes some of that stuff is something evil, potentially, isn't necessarily the person, because I think once we're gone, but we all have our opinions in that regard, and I don't want to put anybody down for what they believe or what they think it is. But anyway, it was sort of, I guess he got killed in an accident of some sort, and they said that you'll see him every now and then. But yeah, it's a neat, really neat cemetery. And I know when Cliff and I walked down through here, because it is, like I said, it's a park as well, is what it was meant for. And you'll see like a ton of squirrels. It's nuts, like squirrels, groundhogs, chipmunks, everywhere. It's literally the last haven of the squirrels and the chipmunks, where they can take the world over from this point. But we'll walk a little bit of this, and then I'll probably be done, because it's like right now I'm trying to keep, basically what I look at is my walking. I don't want to do more than, say, more than what I would do if I go to the grocery store, because I just don't think it's wise for me yet until I get those specialized shoes to do more than that. But you can just see just how cool this is. And there's a little mausoleum over there. But I want to tell the one story. The one guy was telling us along here, it'd be here on the right side. So I just think that's so neat there. Let me just quick. I wanted to get a couple pictures just quick, because some of these things is just, the architecture on just how they designed is just beautiful. And you look down through and you're like, wow. But and it says, we talk about so much, you know, every single one of these people, you just wonder what was their story, who were they, you know, what impact did they make on the world around them. And you know, every single one of these people, they had individuals that loved them, and you know, it's just such a big cemetery. You just see all this and just like, who were they? You could write books and books and books upon the lives of these individuals. But it's one of those things that cemetery wise, this is one of the more impressive. There's one of those squirrels scurrying about. But there's a stone here somewhere. I'm hoping I can recognize it, but I don't know if I will or not. But we'll do a series. Cliff and I are talking about, like we did with the Blue-Eyed Six. We want to do a series on, they call it the Molly McGuires. And it's something that happened here, Pottsville, and up in Jim Thorpe, what at the time would have been Monk Chunk. And it was one of those things where you had the people that were incredibly wealthy, had some individuals who were trying to, you know, for protections of the workers, they were trying to unionize, if you will. And these ultra rich didn't like that, and basically they decided to get these guys accused of murder. And whether one of them was actually involved in the murder or not, I don't know. Sort of cool seeing the steps going up through. But pan that back. But anyways, the entire, and that's it right there, I believe. Yeah, Dillinger. So this guy here, the Jonathan, I believe it's Jonathan Dillinger. I believe I have that correct. It's the memorial here. He was the judge over, and it was basically the only thing that the government provided was the courthouse. Everything else was basically paid for by these rich coal barons and railroad barons, and basically these guys got set up. It was horrible. They got railroaded, and they were ultimately all hung. Sad thing is, the last couple of the guys, I think two of them, the governor of Pennsylvania, I believe is Governor Pennypacker, actually pardoned these two men. And the gentleman who was the messenger, who had the summons that said these guys are pardoned, he was held outside of the jail and they were still hung. So they ignored the summons and the pardon. And it's just horrible. But anyways, that judge is the judge that ruled they were guilty. And one lady or a guy that was walking here said that somebody comes through here, a guy that has, I guess, he's Irish. He went and goes, every single time he comes down here, he spits on the guy's memorial, which is why on the one side there's some staining and stuff like that from his spit. But it just sort of shows you, like, you know, 140 years later, or however long that is, there's still a lot of anger about how these individuals got treated. But that's something that we'll do a story on at some time on the Molly McGuires, because it's another one's like the Blue-Eyed Six. We know where all of them are buried. We know their names, we know their stories, their families, that type of stuff. It's all one of those things that's very well documented. So I think it'd make for a very, very cool video, and just show sort of how things were and how impossible it was at times for people during that time period. You know, we've talked about it a number of times that they, you know, people were in essence indentured servants. They really, it was really unfair system. But you know, there's a lot of beauty to our history, but there's also, like that, there's a lot of ugliness. But and all those stories are contained here within these hallowed grounds. And unfortunately, a lot of times, you know, you can't find a lot of this stuff. And over time, the oral history gets lost, and that's just sort of how history works. So we will do a more thorough walk through it sometime. It's the same thing like the Altahalla Church Cemetery. I want to go back to Derry Churchyard, go through a lot of that stuff a lot more. It's just unfortunately right now, I got to be careful and try not to walk too much and push it on myself too much, because I'll wind out ultimately hurting myself, but we don't want that. But anyways, with that, I want to say thank you as always, coming along on another journey here, checking out a cool cemetery, talking about a couple of stories, a couple of the really important people that are here, and we will go from there. So as always, we will see you all about town. Alright, so we're going to do something. I'm going to take advantage, since I'm not going to walk the I'm going to drive down through here and back up and around. That way you guys can see a little more of the cemetery, just how neat it is. And we'll just take a real slow, go by this mausoleum in Atkins. I always found those things neat. I want to film those ones over at Mount Lebanon, because a bunch of those have stained glass in them. I just thought those are so neat. Just there's a cool sort of the Greek columns there. Greek or Roman, I guess you can say. Probably more Roman, because they're not as ornate. The Greeks would normally have a little more ornateness. Miller, good last name. People that have that last name usually have a tendency to be awesome. Just saying. I figured it'd be sort of cool to drive around, because it's just too much for me to walk right now. But I want you to be able to see some of this as well. It's just, I loved walking through here. This is one of the neatest things. And it's sort of like like I said, I'd like to do that Mock Chunk Cemetery then as well, because that's so neat. There's a building right where they house their mowers and all that. How old that is, I don't know. But I believe this was there's another road there because I want to come up and around and go back up through the gateway. This is up where the squirrels were like the most impressive. It's like, wow, they're everywhere. You get a little bit of a sense of how gigantic this is. It really is an impressive place. Get this plugged in again, just to make sure I'm doing good. It's a funny thing, this thing loses a charge quick, but it also charges rather quickly, so go from like 20% up to like 70% in a couple minutes, whatever that means. Technology is not my strong suit, I'll say that. And those stairs are terrifying. And we're coming up to where this guy spits on this guy's grave all the time. Pretty sure is the Dillinger, because I remember, you think of the Dillinger because you can see the staining on it there. I believe that's actually, I don't think that's it, or is that? I think that was it, or it's this one. Yeah, it was one of them we went by earlier. So, but you think of the Dillinger, who was Public Enemy #1, but I remember that because of the Dillinger last name. But I guess he was the judge, and you know how many years later, and there's still a lot of anger, and it's understandable because it was awful what was done to them. But anywho, so with that, as I probably said earlier, thanks for coming along. There's another fun opportunity to go explore some history and just check out what's all there. I was thinking about it for a second. I was like, I should go down through there, but I'm not sure if there's a real good turnaround. So with that, I will say thanks to everybody for coming along. It's been a blast, and we'll say bye-bye to the church. Bye-bye to the Yinglings, bye-bye to John Potts, and all the other really cool, neat places through here. So thanks everybody once again, and we will see you as always about town.